What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 Dynamic Disc Open presented by Dynamic Discs in Emporia, Kansas. This is the second stop on the PDGA National Tour for the 2021 season. So your commentary team today will be myself, Paige Shue.
And I'm Deanne Carey.
And we are super excited to bring you FPO chase card for the final round of the tournament at Emporia Country Club.
Our card today will be Heather Young, sponsored by Team Prodigy. Maria Oliva, sponsored by Prodigy, or Innova, sorry. Erika Stinchcomb, Team Westside.
Looking pretty good there, pulling the shades down.
And we have Missy Gannon, sponsored by Discraft.
Yeah, it's a fun card. A lot of different types of shots, a lot of long throwers, short throwers, good putters. You know, it's going to be fun to watch. So here's your current scorecard coming into the last round. It's a couple strokes separating everyone, but it's pretty tight.
We have hole 1. This is a 999-foot par 5. This is a pretty difficult hole starting out. A lot of the women are pretty much just going to be playing a safe shot, throwing it as far down the fairway as we can, trying to get to this position located down here where the drone is flying right now, near this tree. It's on kind of like a ledge, so you got to be careful.
Times and chase card. Teeing off first from Kingston, Tennessee, sponsored by Prodigy, Heather Young.
I'm super excited to see Heather play this course. Again, we know she's not a super long thrower, but she's really good at breaking down the course and, you know, managing it. So we'll see how she attacks. She's probably ripping on her D2. What's nice is that this is the first shot and you can just air it out. Just throw it as far as you can. The fairway's wide enough. Really just that OB on the left is what we're kind of thinking about.
Maria Oliva.
I'm excited to see how far Maria gets down there. She throws really far.
Yeah, if y'all haven't seen round 3 coverage, she was putting herself in a lot of good positions and using her distance to her advantage. So I'm sure she'll be trying to repeat it. Looked like a little bit of an early release there for Maria. It's not how you want to start your round.
Sponsored by Westside.
Looks like she just didn't quite get over on it enough. I actually got to play with Erika the third round, and she did pretty well. She managed the course well, didn't get too many bogeys, took advantage of some birdie opportunities, so I'm sure she's trying to repeat that.
Oh, yeah, she's a very smart golfer. She knows her limitations, and she doesn't really go past
Missy Gannon.
Looked like she just pulled out a little bit. She definitely doesn't want to be right there. That's really going to limit her footing, and maybe that tree might be in her arm swing, so we'll see. We'll see if she can get out from underneath that. Missy, Team Discraft, just ripping on probably a Zeus. I think she has some of those in her bag. She gets it right down the middle.
That's like the perfect landing zone that you could have. Erika has to get a little tricky behind this tree.
And she gets on her knee and commits, and it looks like she throws it a little bit too low, but she was dealing with those low-hanging branches.
Heather just ripping it out there to the top of the hill.
Yeah, it was not super windy, but pretty windy.
It was definitely a lot more windy than the third round, I believe.
So it's just another thing that they have to contend with. So it's going to be Maria's third shot. Oh, no.
Stay in bounds.
Holy cow. Fortunately, she just turned that one a little bit too much. Probably a stiffer headwind than she thought. So she's going to be throwing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from there?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Missy just laying a good shot up to the top of the hill. Maybe she'll get a good look for her birdie.
Erika puts it out wide. She'll be staying in bounds. You can hear that wind ripping, and you can see Maria's shirt. Looks like it's a pretty strong headwind.
Oh, sit down.
No way. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, what's nice about this hole is you can still manage par. I know Maria went OB a few times, so that's out of the question. But like Erika had some tricky footing on her second shot, but her third shot's laying in a decent spot to get up and down for her 5.
And looks like Heather will be outside the circle putt for her birdie look.
Yeah, Missy's in a great position to be getting up and down for her birdie. Beautiful shot. Exactly what she wanted.
Such a good shot.
This is a pretty good birdie to get. It's definitely doable, even for people who don't throw super far, but it's definitely, you have to have 3 really solid shots and make a decent putt.
Yes. Looks like Erika just let the wind get under that one just a little bit. Maria approaching. Heather was just probably laying that one up.
Yeah. It does sit on a little bit of a hill, and you can get a decent roll away. This is Erika for her par. Oh, sit! That's unfortunate. I mean, it's still pretty close, but...
Yeah, but you have to contend with those trees, and they can get in your head.
Yeah. She's smiling. She knows that was a good putt to make, but that was going to be for her bogey.
Maria, it taps into the basket for it. I believe it's a 7.
That sounds right.
Missy putting in for her birdie.
Yeah, definitely feeling good about that one. Nice par from Heather.
Here's your updated leaderboard after hole 1.
All right, moving on to hole 2. This is a 576-foot par 4 that plays pretty much uphill for probably 75% of the flight, and then the last 25% is downhill. Really, we got to worry about the OB on the left, or there's a really big tree on the right that if you kind of overcook it or turn over your drive a little too much, you can lay into that tree. Then we're trying to throw over the hill. It's kind of a blind shot to the basket, depends on how far up the fairway you get, but then you're just trying to give yourself a decent putt for birdie. But most of the women are just trying to throw as far as they can, but pretty controlled.
Yeah, just trying to play a safe shot up there in the middle, kind of where Missy landed.
Yeah, it looks like there's quite a bit of a tailwind, and it really dropped Missy's disc down.
Heather might be going towards that tree you were talking about.
Yeah, you don't want to land there. It takes birdie pretty much out of question.
Erika's landing nicely in the middle of the fairway.
Maria's getting a good move on it. Really got it up in the air, knowing that tailwind was going to push it down, and she threw it pretty far.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty far up the hill. She might be able to see the basket from there. So they're going to be, again, contending with that tailwind. They need to get it up. And she just, yeah, she throws into the ground. That's going to happen. Heather actually has a decent look.
And she takes her sidearm just to lay it up to the top of the hill, I believe. She'll have a good look down for her par.
Erika's making that correction, making sure that she gets it up high for that uphill and the tailwind. So she's probably inside circle 2. Oh, was that her?
Inside circle 1.
Yeah, yep. Look at that. Maria just has this easy standstill.
Looks like maybe with a mid-range.
Yeah. Turned it a little, but she'll be inside the circle. So Missy's going to have a little bit of work to do for her par.
She's just throwing it low.
Yeah, those branches really do come into play.
Yeah, they can really mess with you if you're not careful.
So she softies then upshot. She'll be inside the circle to save her par. Or no, would that be for bogey?
I believe that is for a bogey.
Bogey, yeah. Yeah, and these wins, these layups are pretty tough as well.
Definitely. And you definitely don't want to run anything.
Yeah. Oh, good control there. Just a little bit too high.
Maria has a pretty tough headwind.
Dang.
But she gets it for her birdie.
Great way to recover after having a rough start.
Yeah.
Ooh. Heather will be tapping in her par. Missy with a nice solid hit for bogey.
We have Heather at even for the round, Maria at +1, Erika at +1, and Missy at even. We're going into hole 3. This is a 489-foot par 4. It's going downhill basically the entire way. I feel like this is one of the easier par 4s for the women's field. You have OB on the left and the right. Honestly, I think the biggest thing that you have to contend with is that gap right off the front is what is going to get most people.
Yeah. It's pretty wide, but it's right in your face, and you kind of makes you think about it just a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
So this hole's facing the same direction as the previous hole, so I'm sure they're dealing with a tailwind. So Maria hit those trees that you were talking about.
Looks like she slid a little bit out though.
Yeah, so they're going to need to put a lot of power and a lot of height onto these if they're going to want to keep them in the air.
Heather going that outside hyzer as well. I believe Emily did that gap on round 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I believe she looked like she might have early released it just a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard, you know, the OB on the left is there and kind of daunting, and there's also OB pretty far to the right. Like, you probably won't reach it, but it's enough in your head to where you're trying to put it out maybe just a little wider than you would if it wasn't there. So it can definitely come into play. So Maria's going to have some work to do for her birdie.
And she stays in bounds, but she should have a pretty good putt for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit long.
Erika got a nice little slide. She'll be a little short, but...
Yeah, it seemed like she was trying to use the hill to kind of do the work for her. So she threw it a little soft, expecting to get a little more glide, but she's still well inside the circle. Same with Heather. And there's that tailwind just pushing everything down. So Maria has this. Oof.
And the wind just picks it up and takes it right over the basket.
That's, you know, it's every wind putt. That's really worst case scenario. You want to give it enough oomph and height, but man, if that wind gets control of your disc, you're pretty much donezo. Great putt. That's the kind of putt you want to be making, especially with that tailwind. You don't really have to adjust too much. Just aim maybe a little bit higher.
Yes.
So she used the wind to her advantage. Oh, another band hit for Erika. This is one I think we should all be birdieing. You know, I think it is definitely a par 4 because it's hard to reach, but it's a pretty easy 3 to get.
This hole actually, for this round, played as the easiest hole in the course.
Okay. Not surprised. I mean, this was after the cut, so you got the top players, and it's a pretty routine 3. Here's your updated scorecard. Maria only took a bogey. I feel like it's par 4, so I guess her putt back and forth.
Okay.
Only a bogey. Okay, so hole 4. This is a par 3. It's 438 feet. It plays downhill for most of the flight and then a little bit back uphill on your upshot. Most of us are just trying to throw as far as we can. The only OB we have to really deal with is the OB on the right, that you can just see off to the right there, which is that golf green, and then the left. On the left, the cart path as well. So most of us are just trying to throw as far as we can and give ourselves just a pitch-up shot. Heather threw that super low.
But it's safe up there, but she'll have a long look to the basket.
Yeah, and if you see that like weeping willow up there, you can see the wind is pushing a little bit left to right. It's going to be pushing those hyzers down, not giving them a lot of distance.
Looks like the wind got a hold of that one and maybe turned it over a little bit.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for Erika.
Just needs to come back.
Maria's someone who might be able to reach the basket. Ooh. Nice. She kept it in bounds. It's tough with that left to right wind, though. If you're trying to hyzer out towards the basket, you're not getting much help from the wind.
I wonder if there are any women that are actually going for this basket.
Probably. I would say probably Katrina.
I would definitely have to
Haley.
say, definitely the top throwers in the field would be going for it.
Absolutely. So Erika's just pitching up, probably for her bogey after that OB stroke when she comes up a little bit short.
Maria going a little past the basket. She'll have a tester wind in the, or putt in the wind.
Jeez, that wind is howling.
Yes.
I feel like it's gotten worse since hole 1, so it's tough out there. Oh my gosh. 3rd in a row. She's hitting her lines really well.
She is. She's just struggling in the wind just a little bit.
Yeah.
She's just a notch off.
Yep. It's a great putt by Heather. Almost a bit too high, but it sticks. Looked like Missy put some extra gusto on that one. It's a pretty stiff wind going, heading right towards her.
Mm-hmm. And Erika got it in on that one. Whew. Looks like we might have a big headwind on the next hole.
Ooh, yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
Right now, Heather's 1 down for the round. Maria is 4 over, Erika 2 over, and Missy is 1 down. Going into hole 5, this is a 537-foot par 4. So OB going all down the left and the right. Kind of plays as an island hole going all the way up to the top. And it gets narrower the farther up you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty tricky green.
A lot of us are just trying to throw it down into the opening right before those trees and then just try to get a shot to the basket.
Yeah, you don't really know what you're working with until you get up and see where your drive landed. Heather's ripping just a straight hyzer. She gets over that sidewalk. Missy trusting something out wide.
And that looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, perfect position. I feel like this hole, there's not actually really a perfect position. I feel like no matter where you land, the upshot's scary.
Yeah.
Whether you land left, going over, maybe sidearm over that fairway, or even if you land out right, that hyzer's kind of tough to trust and put it out wide enough for the second shot.
It is, especially if there's any wind on it, because you have to worry about hitting this small gap at the very top, but then you also have to worry about getting it low or high enough so the wind won't mess with it. And that's a good shot for Heather, just getting it up there.
Yeah, so usually if you land in this area, you just kind of have to figure out, navigate, through the trees and see what the hole gives you. So Missy wasn't trying to do too much, I think she just wanted to throw a pitch up hyzer so that her next shot was going to be pretty easy, but honestly, even from there, we got to deal with those low hanging branches. Simmer.
Oh, I think that's in bounds.
Nice.
Yes.
That's great. That was her second shot, right?
Yeah, it was.
She'll be putting for birdie. This is a pretty difficult hole to birdie. So Maria with the furthest drive. That's pretty typical, that error to make is throwing it too low. As y'all can see, the branches are just so low. Looks like Heather's just pitching up her A2. Literally touching the pole.
She'll have a pretty easy putt.
Yeah. Great upshot from Heather. Looks like Missy's probably just pitching up. I think that's her zone, maybe?
I believe so.
A slow speed putter. That's pretty overstable, so that makes sense. Maria's just going to pitch up for her par. Erika has this long look for birdie.
Oh.
Give it a good run.
Looks like we should have some tap-ins for some pars.
This hole's not easy to par.
It's not. And it's even harder to birdie.
Mm-hmm. Even in this wind, it just makes it 10 times harder. So great job for these 4 ladies. Here's your updated scorecard after 5 holes. All right, hole 6. This is a par 3. It's 335 feet. So there is OB on the left. You can see those white flags, and there is OB pretty far off to the right, but most of the women are just going to try to throw kind of a flex max distance shot. It's uphill, so it plays a little bit longer than 335 feet, and the basket's in this little, nook that is surrounded by OB as well. So if you're going for it, you got to be pretty accurate on your distance. But if not, just trying to get as far up as you can and pitch up into that little circle to get your par. That's probably the play for most of us.
Definitely.
Heather putting it out a little bit more right than maybe she wanted, or maybe that's her play. She might throw a little flick inside that little
She should
green.
have a good spot to the basket, though.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Missy needs to sit down.
Yeah, she was airing that one out.
Oh, looks like it just barely went out of bounds.
Yeah. It's a mistake you don't want to make.
That looks like a really good shot from Erika. Yeah, she should have just a little approach to there. This green is really tricky.
It is. I feel like there's a lot of weird sticks and bumps sticking out, so you're not going to really scoot up to the basket. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's out of bounds.
Oh, it's inbounds.
Hey! Nice. Yeah, so you really need to be pinpoint accurate with your distance on this one.
That was a great shot. Got a little help from the tree.
Yeah, those trees that are surrounding the basket are pretty hard to navigate through as well if you're throwing an up shot. Missy just pulled that one a little bit, but she's close enough.
Erika looks like she was maybe running it, but
yeah, with that OB behind it, she probably was just doing a half bit.
Just doing a little layup.
Wow. Maria laying that one up. That surprised me. That was pretty short.
Yeah.
But, if you're not feeling it, don't go for it.
Exactly. And like you said, the OB is pretty much right behind it, so.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a bogey for Missy.
Like a par from Erika. Looks like we're going to be tapping out a bogey for Maria and a par for Heather, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or no, not a bogey for Maria, because she was in bounds.
Oh, yes, she was in bounds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's par for everyone except for Missy.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings Missy down to even, Erika at 2 over, Maria at 4 over, and Heather at 1 down. Going into hole 7, this is a 531-foot par 4. The drone is flying over an out-of-bounds area. I think a lot of us are just going to try to throw flex, overstable shots, just trying to get it down there for an upshot. Up to this basket, you're going downhill and then you go all the way back uphill. But this should be one that everybody's trying to go for the birdie on.
Definitely, and I feel like that leaning tree y'all can see off to the right side of the screen, we just want to be landing underneath that. Give ourselves kind of a straight look at the basket. Heather puts it out probably a little wider than she wanted. Yeah, she'll be contending with those trees, but since she is the lefty, she will have a hyzer look into the green. However, it's not super skippy right now.
And this looks like a really good shot from Erika. She should have just a hyzer shot to the basket from there. Maria looks like she turned this one over a little bit.
She'll be in bounds, but it's going to be tricky footing. Nice controlled hyzer from Missy. Just letting the disc glide and do the work for her. She lands in a good spot. So Maria will have to do kind of a wide swooping hyzer. Just with that left to right, it really wasn't gonna go much further than that.
I think she was trying to maybe account for a skip, but like you said, it's not really been too skippy on this green.
Yeah, looks like Missy just kind of early released that one.
But it rolled in front of the tree.
Yeah, she has a long look. So I'm guessing, yeah, Heather's probably gonna go the hyzer route. Do some magic. She'll give herself a look. Well, it looks like the wind kind of took that one up, but she's right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a good shot.
This is one I feel like I should birdie. But par isn't terrible.
Definitely.
Okay, so Heather actually has a pretty long putt for her birdie.
But she makes it.
Oh my gosh. That was staying still. Like, didn't even look like she putted really hard. Just so smooth and effortless.
That's
Look
crazy.
at her follow through. Y'all see her hand is still up in the air. If you want to be making long putts, that's what you need to do. Way to go, Heather.
Let's see if Missy can connect on this putt.
You don't want her to get big putted.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go.
2 run backs in a row.
Putting on a putting clinic for y'all. Yeah, Missy really using her whole body to get behind that putt, so she's feeling good.
Boy, oh boy. Good thing I'm putting good.
Always a good thing when you're putting good.
Yeah. And Erika with an easy birdie. That's what most of us would want to be doing instead of having to bang 50 footers.
Yeah.
Maria will take that par. Nice. So that birdie brings Missy to 1 under, Erika to 1 up, Maria 4 over, and Heather down to 2 under. This is hole 8. It's 918 feet. This is a long hole. It's a par 5. Off the drive, we want to hyzer around that big tree we just flew over. There is OB left on that like golf fairway. There is OB right as well along the cart path. So it's really just tight the whole way. But I think the drive is doable. You just want to throw a hyzer out there. Just don't let the wind take it and hyzer out too much left. But most people probably won't be going OB right. There's just so much room to work with on that right side.
Heather went with the sidearm off the tee just to lay it inbounds.
Yeah, it's not a good lefty shot. Or it's not a good lefty hole, at least off the tee. Erika just putting on a nice hyzer. That's what most of us are going to be doing. Not trying to bite off too much distance. Just keep it in bounds on the first shot.
This looks like it's going to be really good for Missy.
Yeah, that was nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Oh! Didn't hit the geese, but went right through them. So Heather looks like she came up as the shortest drive of the group, so she'll have the most work to do here. She plays pretty textbook. We'd like to get on the top of that hill for the second shot.
That's typically what most people are aiming for.
Yeah, once you get to the top of the hill, you can see the basket, and so you feel a little bit more confident on your next shots.
And then depending where you are, you can decide to go for it or lay up for the par.
Oh my gosh. Missy's trying to get them geese out of the way. Oh my gosh. Making some friends out on the course. But that's a good lesson there. Like, if anything's distracting you, take your time. Do what you got to do. Everyone gets their full 30 seconds. So
Reset.
Yeah.
And then throw your shot.
Yeah, great rip for Missy. She's throwing a high-speed disc.
Oh.
I think
Is
that's
it inbounds?
Can't tell. But that's the risk you have by throwing that high-speed disc.
This looks like a really good shot from Erika. It just needs to sit down. But it should be inbounds over there.
Oh, red.
Oh, red flag.
That, I'm so surprised on that. So maybe she's
Yeah.
throwing a high-speed disc as well and just got a little bit too much skip. So here's Heather's third shot. She'll have a nice, easy look for her par. That looks like she... Oh, no, yeah, that's the OB.
Yeah, she was right beside the flag right there.
Mhm. She gets knocked down by that tree, so she'll have a long up and down from there.
Let's see if Missy can get the skip. She'll be right outside circle 1.
Yeah, I'm guessing if Erika went OB, Missy went OB
Yeah.
too.
This looks like a really good shot from Maria.
Love
Looks
it.
like she might be laying inside the circle for her birdie look.
Dang, Heather is just so accurate with those touch shots.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
cow. She played it pretty textbook. She just kept it in the fairway, didn't throw OB, and she's going to be putting for her par.
Ooh.
Missy's really taking her time and focusing on this putt. This is for her par save, I believe. Yeah. Great putt from Missy.
Such a good putt. Full extension.
Big smile on her face. Great putt from Maria. Was that for her par, I think? Did she throw OB at all?
Actually, Maria and Missy both got birdies on that one, so Missy was in bounds.
And so is Maria?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Dang.
So the only one that went out of bounds, I believe, is Erika.
It was Erika. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So
Congrats
those were
to
the
them.
only 2 birdies on this hole.
Well deserved. Great shots from both of them. Kept it in bounds. Made good putts.
And for the round, that brings Heather and Missy both tied at 2 down. Hole 9, we have a 693-foot par 5. The draw just flew over the out-of-bounds area, and you really just want to land in that inbounds area so you can throw up to this golf green that's out of bounds. You just want to get short of the golf green and then try to throw to the basket if you can, if you have a good shot. But this is a very difficult par 5.
It is, and I think at first we're like, okay, just make the gap. That's the main focus. But then, you have that sidewalk off to the left that can come into play, especially if you're throwing some kind of high speed. So it's a couple things we got to think about, but it is a pretty big gap. I don't think getting out of the gap is really the hard problem. It's just the, where do you want to land, and just don't go be left.
And we've had 2 good shots out of the gap already. Heather showing the sidearm. Looks like she just yanked it a little bit, but she's in bounds. Okay.
That was the first not great shot out of Heather. I feel like she just is so accurate and on point, so I'm sure she's not feeling good, and that wasn't too good either.
Unfortunately, Erika will have to go to the drop zone.
Really hard to save par from here.
Very.
She's putting it out wide,
Sit
trusting
down.
trusting that understability, but that just goes too long. Heather has a tricky out. But she's out there, so she'll have a nice kind of approach to her approach.
Yes. Missy just laying up to that golf green.
Probably a putter. Probably throwing a putter. That was just probably barely far enough to be able to have a straight look at the basket.
Oh, Maria went for to try to go over the green.
Oh.
She did not quite make it.
This is Heather for her third. She's probably just throwing a big wide hyzer.
Trying to account for that skip just to lay it up to the top of the hill.
Yeah, from there she should be able to pitch up her putter. So Missy has a decent look at the birdie, but just throws it way too soft, not really committed. She'll have a long look for her birdie.
Looks like Erika should have a good putt from there.
Yeah, well inside the circle. Maria with a standstill. Oh. Almost hitting the camera guy.
Sliding down that hill a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Heather, just the typical approach for her par.
Yeah, she just played it like the perfect par 5.
Exactly.
So let's see. Missy's been making these all day. Let's see if she can continue the streak.
Oh, and
my
she cans
gosh.
it.
She's laughing at this point. She's like, okay, anytime I touch this disc, it's going in the basket. I thought that was going to be short and left, but it just dropped at the perfect time. Boom.
That was such a good putt.
You love to see it. Another big smile on her face. Great hole for Missy. Maria had a few little twigs and branches in her way, so she actually went a little bit long of the basket, and we'll have a little bit of a tester, but I'm sure she'll make it. Erika with a great putt. That's for her birdie, right?
I believe that is for a bogey.
Oh, she missed. I forgot.
She went out of bounds.
You're right. Ooh, Maria hit that tree right in front of her. Not feeling good about that one. She gets it in. Heather just tapping in her par. So those are your scores after 9 holes. A lot of good golf, a lot of good putts flying on this card. It's really been fun to watch. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Front 9. Thanks to Dynamic Discs for sponsoring the event. Thanks to the PDJ for their support for the coverage, and Ace Run Pro for covering the women. Tune into the Back 9 to see how these ladies finish up in the standings. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next round.